was so excited to even get into influencer marketing in the first place years ago was because there's predominantly women in the space. And that's so unusual when it comes to so many other industries that are very male dominated. When you're looking for influencers, you should be looking not just at their vanity metrics, like how many followers do they have, but what's actually most beneficial is when you're really doing a deep dive into their audience. It's easy, relatively, for an influencer to say, I love this thing, come buy it. And it's another thing completely for the audience to actually be called to action. I come from the world of actors. So in my state in New York City is regulated by SAG-AFTRA, which is a union that exists so that actors aren't underpaid. So nothing like that really exists for the influencer industry. And so I think that with a lack of education and awareness, some influencers will severely undercharge.
Hi, this is Shubham Tiwari, and I welcome you to the Fireside Chats. Today, I have with me an entrepreneur who's passionate about supporting women in business and being at the forefront of innovation. She's the founder and CEO of WIIM, WIIM, that is Women in Influencer Marketing. Founded in 2017, today WIIM is the premier professional organization for those who work with influencers. The community offers networking and new business opportunities, career services, continuous education, and much more. I'm talking about none other than Jessy Grossman. Jessy is here. Jessy, welcome to the Thousand Faces Club.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
How significant is the role of women in shaping the future of influencer marketing?
So significant for so many reasons. One of the reasons why I was so excited to even get into influencer marketing in the first place years ago was because it was so unique in that way that there's predominantly women in the space. And that's so unusual when it comes to so many other industries that are very male dominated. This was years ago and it hasn't let up since. It's still very female dominated on all sides, right? On the side of the creators themselves, but also on the influencer marketer side. And I just think that at this point we're not in our infancy anymore. We're at a phase where it's not the Wild West. It's, we've sort of grown up a little bit. And I think that because of that, it's time that we now start thinking about the legacy that we're leaving and for the next generation of influencer marketers. And so I think that, the role of women is incredibly important because we're in this very unique place where it's largely female dominated. And if we want it to continue that and we want to leave a good legacy and sort of set the next generation of women up for success, I think it takes a lot of mindfulness and it takes a lot of intention. But I think that, partnership and all of the women working together can absolutely do that.
Right. So at this point, I'll ask you a question that, keeps on coming. Like, how can brands find the right influencer for their campaigns?
Yeah. So that's a great question. Where I think people slip up a bit is that they're just looking at the wrong metrics. They're looking for the wrong pieces of information to inform them of the success they want to have. So, when you're looking for influencers, you should be looking not just at their vanity metrics, like how many followers do they have, but you really, or even, much about the influencer themselves. It makes so much sense that you would, but what's actually most beneficial is when you're really doing a deep dive into their audience. What types of products have they sold before and what's done really well for them, and asking them for any stats like that. Do you have any information from your most successful partnerships to show maybe how many products you moved or how much engagement you got, what really resonates with your audience? Because it's easy, relatively, for an influencer to say, I love this thing, come buy it. And it's another thing completely for the audience to actually be called to action. And so I think that really diving into and understanding who their audience is, what they like, what they enjoy, what really motivates them is huge. First, in just finding the right influencer you want to partner with to get in with their audience. But then even when cultivating, like crafting the partnership itself, once you have hired the influencer, you know, do we share this messaging in short form video? Do we have an image? Is it long form video? Like, they have hopefully gotten to know their audience exceptionally well. And if you pick their brain a bit to find out, what's the best strategy here, that always trumps any other strategy, in my opinion.
Right, right. And what do you think the creator economy at large can do to support more women influencer marketing? Or let's look at this question like, where is the support lacking? You say that this is a very female, dominated industry, but still, is there, somewhere the support is lacking? Do you see?
Yeah, I think that pay equality is a really huge thing. I think that it's a very unique industry in that it's like largely unregulated. I come from the world of actors. So, even what act like a minimum of what actors can make in my state in New York City is regulated by, SAG-AFTRA, which is a union that exists so that,
Yeah.
actors aren't underpaid. So nothing like that really exists for the influencer industry. And so I think that, with a lack of education and awareness, some influencers will severely undercharge for their worth and for content. And, I've had these conversations with people on the brand side before, and, some take a stance where it's like, well, I'm trying to do right by my client, which is the brand. And, if I can stretch their dollar as far as it can, then I'm going to do that. And then you have other people who are like, "Ugh, like, I don't want, like, I'm getting quotes from all of these creators, and I can very explicitly see that this person is just undercharging based on what everybody else is charging, right?" And so I've known multiple people multiple times who have said, if this person quoted $100, like, they went back to them and said, "I'm giving you 500." I know it sounds crazy, but I think that if more people fairly paid, I think that it makes a big difference for lots of reasons. Like, that influencer probably just didn't know better, or else she would have charged more. There's no reason otherwise, right? And so that's how she could learn. And I think that if more people sort of like really look at the bigger picture in terms of pay equality, I think it will go a long way.
That's so thoughtful of you. That's great. So are you trying to address that problem at WIIM? Like, there is a lack of thought leadership, let's say, in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, a couple different things that we're doing. So, our membership is mostly the people who hire the influencers, not the influencers themselves. So, we're people who work at brands and agencies and talent managers, tech companies, et cetera, et cetera. And so for us, we have gathered so much information around comp packages, basically the glass door of influencer marketing. We've gathered hundreds of data points from women in our community who have shared not just what they're making, but how many vacation days they get, what percentage of their health insurance is covered, do they get maternal leave or not, how do they get unlimited PTO or a few days, or what is their full comp package look like? Um, every like It's one of our most successful content series that we have because we've taken all that information and on a weekly basis we share that out on social, but also asking the question, what should she negotiate next? So here she is, and maybe she's leaps and bounds ahead of where you want to be, but she's still progressing in her career. So what should she negotiate for next? And so it opens up a really interesting dialogue about, negotiating for yourself and negotiating for other professionals, what other people are making, how their comp packages are structured, et cetera, et cetera. And people love that like voyeuristic peek behind the scenes too.
So, Jesse, when you say comp packages, can you expand that for our audience?
Yeah, absolutely. So their full comp package. So it includes, how much they're making on a yearly basis. Some of them are contractors, but most of them are full time employees. So most of them will be salaried. Some that we featured though are freelancers, and so they'll say what they charge per hour, and then all the benefits that are associated with it. So whether it's vacation time or we talked about mat leave before, all the different benefits that you would get as an employee. And they share that with us, and then we share it with our audience.
Superb. And what's a typical day for members at WIM?
So a typical day, it's really, we try to meet people where they are. And what I mean by that is, people can dip in and dip out based on whatever they need. So, they can come to one of our community forums and simply ask a question like, whether it's something pointed like, hey, I'm casting this campaign. Do you know of an influencer that fits XYZ? Or, I haven't gotten paid by this company and they're overdue. Is anyone else like have a partnership with them and experiencing this like payment delay? So the community piece, the forum piece is really, really powerful. And plus, um, it has years of searchable data. So of course you can ask a pointed question, but a lot of people just search for it because we've had these forums since 2017 and there's so much conversation that's already happened. So they can just sort of search and see if their question's already answered. But we also have monthly events, both virtual and in person. We have events coming up about UGC, user generated content, which is really interesting, affiliate marketing. We have sort of open chats for like segments of our community. So for our talent managers, we have a monthly chat. For executives, more people who are sort of been in the industry, very senior level, we have an open forum for them where we have a monthly meetup. Brands as well. We have a mentorship program. We have, contract templates. Like the list sort of goes on and on. But again, we meet our members where they are, and we basically have resources no matter what your issue or question is. And we're always building new things all the time.
Great. Do you also cover monetization opportunities at WIM?
You said monetization opportunities?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that's part of the ethos of what we've built. So when it comes to, partnerships, like branded partnerships, which are a large part of the conversation at WIM, very few of them are unpaid. So most of them are. And I think that a huge percentage of our community are talent managers. Actually, it's the largest community within our community. And so I think that, they're always looking for the best opportunities for their talent. And I think that, most of the women who are in the community are not new to influencer marketing. And so they're working at, Fortune 500 companies, and they can't really get away with not paying influencers anymore. So, and rightfully so.
Thank God for that.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah, all the castings and brand partnerships, I would say 95% of them at least are all paid partnerships. But then the conversations, of course, around monetization are plentiful as well. I think a more recent conversation that's been happening are, things have been slowing down a bit for creators and for the talent managers who represent them, largely, I'm sure, because, the economy has been struggling a bit, and there's just people are pinching their pennies a little bit more, not spending quite as much. So the question has been around how to diversify their revenue. If the paid partnerships and brand partnerships aren't as plentiful as they used to be, I could just sit here and make less money, but who wants to do that? So the discussion is, are there any platforms or like ideas, like maybe I could sell merch, maybe I could sell, a course or meet and greets and events and things like that. And basically, what are all the additional revenue streams that I might not be exploring yet?
Right, right. So, Jesse, at the Thousand Faces Club, we focus mostly on monetization and growth. So, can you share with us your, revenue streams, the breakdown of, whatever you're, earning through your revenue streams?
Yeah. So for me personally,
Yeah.
yeah, sure. So I have two businesses currently. I have a consultancy where I consult on all things influencer marketing and in different capacities. So people will hire me to consult on anything from pay banding and creating, really established comp packages that we were talking about earlier for their team to recruiting. I do a bunch of recruiting specifically for influencer marketers. So people know that I have a professional organization within WIIM and we're constantly posting job listings there. There are some people who they're like, that's great. And I'll post on the job board, but could you also help me a little bit more? I need like help with a tricky role, or I have a bunch of roles to fill, et cetera, et cetera. Who do you know in your network? So I do some recruiting, which has been incredible. It's like a really special opportunity when you can, get people their next job. Like that's a really big deal, something that I had never experienced before. So that's been really rewarding. And then WIIM itself. So, we monetize WIIM because we're a membership community. So people sign up and there's a few levels of membership. There's basically a monthly and a yearly, but we also have corporate memberships and things like that. And we also have sponsorships ourselves. So at a lot of our events and things like that, inevitably brands and companies, usually within the influencer space, want to get in front of decision makers within the influencer space. So we have a lot of companies that will come to us and just want to get in front of our audience. So yeah, those are a few ways that we monetize.
Right. You also consult. What are some of the strategy services that you offer on the consultation front?
Yeah, so it's pretty comprehensive. A couple things that I mentioned, recruiting for sure. Salary banding was a pretty niche thing that I worked on with a company. But I also do coaching, which I didn't mention. So I've had, my background, everyone's entry point into influencer marketing is a little bit different. No one really comes from the same place. For me, my background is in talent management and I own my own agency. I had my own talent agency that I sold back in 2020. And so with that, I've had a good amount of management companies hire me to coach their employees. So basically think of me as like an accountability coach slash therapist slash, strategist that I can come in, meet one-on-one with their managers on a regular basis. It's usually once a week. And we just talk about what's been going on with their clients, with the brand partners, where they struggle, where the opportunities are, and we work together. And it's really been wonderful. Of course, like for me, I'm a third party perspective. I'm not in their business on a day to day. So I ask them operative questions and I kind of get to the core of like what we can unlock. And we've had a lot of really great success with them. The most, if not all of the clients that I've coached really, really love it. So the coaching is another piece that I do in my consultancy as well.
Wonderful, Jessy Grossman. We hope you continue to do what you're doing in the influencer marketing space. You continue to support women. And the thought leader you are, we wish you all the best because, we all need some kind of structure in this industry. Lastly, would you like to nominate anyone for our show?
Ooh, such a good question. There's so many people. I would just say like anybody in WIIM, to be honest. Like
We'll be
we
honored.
we have a whole membership directory of people that I can sift through and find you a ton of different women. I think like you're asking the woman who always loves to uplift women to recommend one person. I don't think I could. So I can give you a whole list of people that I would love to have come on.
Wonderful. We'll reach out to you. And thanks again for coming on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's nice chatting with you.
And cut. That's it for today's episode, guys. If you really liked it, please subscribe to the Thousand Faces Club and press the bell icon below so that you don't miss any videos from us. Thank you.